I don't think a Kestrel banner makes sense first.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah, for sure.
Impunity might just go, okay, we won basically because of Kestrel last game. Samuel did well, but Samuel got outpoked by Celeste, really. It was mainly all Kestrel, but they're going to leave the Grace open. They're going to leave Grace and Kestrel open, so if Impunity do decide to first pick Kestrel, which I don't think they should, they're going to go for Arden. That leaves Grace available. Arden's not a really good Grace counter with no stun to stun Grace out of the Divine Intervention. Someone like a Catherine is fantastic at stunning Grace out of her ultimate so that she doesn't get the heal off, and then you're in a horrible position as Grace. You have no heal because you've been stunned out of it. Just a good first pick. Synergizes well with most heroes, and I'd like to see Grace picked up and then Kestrel banned away in the second ban. Ooh, we're going to go for the Finn instead. We haven't seen Finn, like, at all, really. He's been played a couple of times, and when Finn has been played, yeah, the Kestrel ban as expected, but when Finn has been played, he's played with an Echo and a Null Wave, and the whole team comp is use up all the blocks, but get off a Forced Accord. And so what I'd like to see from Impunity is a composition where your jungler, it makes sense for them to buy a Crucible, someone who goes tanky, someone... Glade's been banned away, so that's not possible. Maybe someone like a Cruel, maybe... there's not that many heroes that actually want to go full tank. Most heroes want to go for damage and only double defense. But maybe just a Bruiser, maybe a Fortress, a Jungle Crystal Fortress. Someone who can build a Crucible and it works in their kit, so that you have 2 Crucibles on your team against this Finn. So if you build 2 Crucibles, you basically counter the Finn, Echo, Null Wave build completely, as long as your captain can reflex block the Null Wave Gauntlet. Batiste, we didn't see the last game, but he's really strong. He counters most heroes. If you need to use mobility, you're countered by Batiste, and that's a good ban.
So they might just... Alright, Vox. I was actually going to say they might just opt for something of a damage dealer before they show, I guess, their support. Rather to at least, have that all-around type of hero to not really show their last pick, since that is going to be kind of counterable. Yeah,
I really like Idris against Vox. Some people think that Vox is good into Idris, but I think Idris, if played well, will just delete Vox. As soon as he gets 2-3 items, you can blink in, Shroud Step in, and then you stay on top of Vox so easily. You can Shimmer Strike if he's at Sonic Zooms away, and even though Sonic Zoom is up an awful lot, you'll burst him down before he gets 2 Sonic Zooms off. But they're actually going to go for the double damage comp. They're going to go for full mobility, and they're going to go for if Finn pulls us in, especially if Finn pulls Idris in, Idris will just jump on your carry. If Finn pulls Sky in, Sky will just Sui Strike away and you'll be fine. And so they're going to go for the mobility score. They're just going to say, okay, you can pull us in, that's fine. We'll just either dive on top of your carry or we'll run away. Crystal Blackfeather, they were quite quick on picking that. They seemed quite confident that they wanted to play CP Blackfeather against this Sky. It can work well. Sky, when she's using a forward barrage, she's actually quite immobile. You know pretty much where she's going to go, so you can land on points quite easily. But I don't like CP Blackfeather with the Finn, because he's more about poke than burst. And with a Finn, a Forced Accord, you just want to pull someone in and burst them down immediately. But it could work. Obviously, if you get a double Forced Accord into an on point, you're obviously going to hit both of them, maybe with a Rose Offensive as well. That will be a lot of burst damage from the CP Blackfeather, so it could work out. But I think Impunity have a really good draft if they use it well. If they don't immediately run away as soon as the Forced Accord lands, they actually try and engage from the Finn Forced Accord, then it could work out really well for them.
So right now, we're going to be seeing an Arden with this. So like you said, lots of ability here. And I really like the Arden pick just because it's just going to make this Vox, in a way, easily put in the gauntlet. But then at the same time, you do have the safety with the Vanguard that if they do kind of go aggressive onto either the Sky or at least if they go for the counter engage with the Idris, they're going to be able to have at least a shield to be able to survive, because we've seen, like, I think, last week, there was a lot of, like, really clutch Arden Vanguards that just made or break a team fight, which could be good here. But then for Ciao 7, we have seen, like you said, a lot of teams not really have too much success dealing with double Force Accords on the Echo.
It's really hard to deal with, because you either need to obviously your captain, unless he builds three reflex blocks, there's Crucible, Aegis, and Reflex, is going to get pulled in once, but that's not a disaster. If your captain gets pulled in, he's not going to get bursted down. It's Arden. Arden's really healthy, and actually the LDC taking a lot of poke from Defq in lane already. The Sim Monster are going to have to rotate out with that Iron Guard contract to try and keep the LDC alive on this box. But I think that obviously unless Defq and Kirchhoff use their blocks to block the force toward themselves, and there's the Shaquib damage, and Kirchhoff's rotating up the lane, the LDC is going to lose a lot of farm. He's going to be forced under turret. But Blackfeather's taking the Elder Trade by himself, and he'll be getting that without any contest from Kirchhoff's. Kirchhoff's just trying to help Idris push this wave. Idris has horrible wave clear in the early game, with obviously only with a Book of Eulogies for damage. Now the LDC going to be nice, get a little bit of health regen from that Iron God contract, and because he hasn't got Book of Eulogies, so he won't sustain from basic minions without fitting in lane. And Blackfeather actually smartly rotating straight to Sky's backs. Imia's Bay not rotating up to lane to help out, just going straight to the jungle, but Kirchhoff's going to get Blackfeather's mids and fronts as well, so pretty even in the jungle.
Yeah, this lane already, like you said, the RDC is being bombarded by Impunity. Court of One, Defq have been, well, really merciless with the pursuit that they're going onto the RDC, and that's going to pull in Sin Monster for a little bit, activates the Polite Company and the Quibble, so the DRDC, well, at least what they're trying to do right now for Ciao 7 is they're actually just putting a little bit of more of, I would say, the lane equilibrium, 2 for 2 in the lane, so that, you know, Impunity won't be able to bully out the RDC, but he's going to be going for the port or recall and at least get his items and heal back up.
Yeah, he will get to the base, but Defq did spot it out, tried for Shackle to stop him porting, which would have been really good for Idris. But Arden's going to help Idris clear this wave, and that's really good farm from Defq on 27 already, 7 ahead of Vox, but Vox has a little bit of wave here to try and clear. Blackfeather trying to get some farm away from Kirchhoff's, but we'll spot the Kirchhoff's is there, so he's just going to get his backs, and Blackfeather just being as sneaky as possible to try and run around Sky and get as much of his farm, as much of her farm without actually fighting. And so Vox now with some items should be alright in lane. Still not going to go for that sustain with the Book of Eulogies, as we see so many Voxes going Poison Shiv, like almost first item on Vox when it was even after it got nerfed. So he will have a little bit of trouble trying to sustain, but Defq can now clear this wave a lot quicker. Blackfeather not in lane to go to this, so DRDC gonna just back off and farm under the turret. He's doing well to stay sustained with this Iron Guard from Finn. You know that they're going to rotate down to Blackfeather though, who could be in a bit of trouble. He doesn't know that Impunity are rotating down, but he's still going to try and secure this Elder Tree. Blackfeather with good poke, but he could get in trouble.
Trouble indeed, as they do spot him out. Here's going to be Sin Monster with a 3-man Polite Company and DRDC to actually help his comrades. Still, it's going to be, I believe that... Well, actually, he stole the trend. I did not see.
Finn got it with his Quibble.
Alright.
The trend did still away. Maybe he's making a shot. He knows that Impunity haven't shopped, but he did not land that on point.
Oh, that's going to be close, and that's going to be the first blood for Impunity as they punish Emi's Bay for being a little bit too out of position there. They did chase him down, but I mean, he was low on HP, and they didn't really have DRDC to help with the damage, and Impunity shall be able to take a little bit of an advantage there, 500 gold lead, and Defq is still bullying out DRDC, 45 CS to the 40.
Yeah, definitely doing well in the lane, but obviously Mimia's Bay is actually 10 CS ahead of Kirchhoff's in the jungle, because, as we said, Mimia's Bay doing really well to take as much of Sky's farm as he could. And so DRDC gonna just not port home, actually. Idris did, and Idris can't quite pick up his sword blade. There it is, there's the 1,650. And so that power spike for Idris is basically means he will beat Vox now in a 1v1. Vox he's going with the sustain build. Didn't build the Book of Eulogies, but just going straight for the Serpent's Mask. So that means he'll be fine in lane now. He'll be able to poke out Idris and actually sustain health from that. And there's the blink from Defq. There's a lot of damage with that Sword Blade. Lots
of damage indeed. Level 6, only up for, I believe, Kirchhoff's and the Blackfeather. So at least they do have the death from above here for Impunity if they want to go aggressive. Like I said, Serpent's Mask will give DRDC some really good sustain in the lane. Even though you can see that Defq has the damage, actually Pokemon to down like 3/4 HP. He will still be able to, as long as there's a wave, keep auto-attacking and keep himself basically topped off. Sin Monster still doesn't have the level 6, no Force Accord just yet. They might be looking for the gold miner here or just to buy items. Yeah, so that's
Fountain on
Fountain.
There's no Crucible yet on Quartervar. I think he's gonna try and get as much ambient gold as he can. Try and rush that Crucible before Finn hits level 6. There's gonna be a fight in lane. They're just gonna push the turrets.
And they pull in Quart d'Ivoire. DefQ a little bit out of position here, but they do have the mobility, like you said. Serious strike from Kirchhoffs, and he activates the forward barrage. Misses actually almost all of the shots right there. And DefQ with the Idris should be able to get away from this one, but Mimius Bay is merciless, and he will be able to spot out. Well, it's gonna be taken, rather the Sky taken down. Quart d'Ivoire dives back in, but doesn't have the safety too much, or rather doesn't have the re-engage potential. Does have the Vanguard though, but it won't be enough. And Quart d'Ivoire, well, he can only maybe get the steal on this Crystal Sentry.
Oh, he got it. Quart d'Ivoire's gonna actually get the kill onto the DC. Ciao 7 trying to kill.
DefQ is here. Yeah, and he goes in.
He's gonna pick this up. No contest at all. Finn can't get away from that. And that was obviously Ciao 7 thinking they could take down the Crystal Sentry of Impunity, and Arden just decided to get the kill onto Vox because the Crystal Sentry actually does a lot of damage. If you don't focus it down immediately, because obviously Black Belt's too low to properly focus it, it's going to pretty much kill you. And the he found that out the hard way, and he's going to try and stop this turret, but that will be enough for him to try and zone him away.
Zone him away. Indeed, but there is no pick-off potential here for Impunity unless they go one in all in. But the crowd controls really not going to be in their favor because Quart d'Ivoire still doesn't have the gauntlet. And like you said, it's the Crystal Sentry, man, having too much damage and pretty difficult to kill via one person.
Yeah, you really need the whole team, and you need the captain tanking it because, yeah, Vox just died so quickly to that. He was like almost full health, and then after the Sentry was nothing. And then you're gonna blink in, but he's 2v3.
2v3, and Ciao 7 will be able to shut down the Idris. Quart d'Ivoire still a little bit tanky there, and Ciao 7 has to be wary of Kirchhoffs from the sidelines. He doesn't have his ultimate. Actually, there you go. He does have his ultimate there, so if ever Ciao 7 goes aggressive, he can just drop it down. In order, they're gonna be greedy enough to chase Quart d'Ivoire as he is porting back into the base. Guess not. Gold miner is open for the taking, but Ciao 7 have their sight onto the turret, and they will be able to shut it down. But all that thought is Kirchhoff says no, gets the usage of the death from above, and he is dealing the damage. He's poking them down, and the chase is on. Serious strike as well with the forward barrage, keeping them down slowly but surely. And DefQ gets pierced by Mimius Bay. Does have the Vanguard from Quart d'Ivoire, but that's going to be Ciao 7 with an objective, and no counter objectives taken or kills by Impunity. But they might rotate to the jungle, take down the Trents, and that's going to be the case.
Yeah, the Trent taken by Black Feather, really good, secure with his on point. And that'll be a gold mine going over to Impunity. It's basically been objective after objective. There's the Force Accord available for Sim Monster. He's going to
no, it's too slow.
And Sim Monster, Finn, he's going to walk so slowly away. Get out the gauntlet.
That should be a takedown, although you can't see the damage from the Black Feather. My goodness, that was just a huge amount of poke, or rather, yeah, poke. But the Idris, with the Shroud Step and that Shimmer Strike, will be able to chase down, I believe, onto Mimius Bay, making it a 2-for-1. But still, the gold miner taken by Impunity.
Yeah, it's basically been objective after objective for both teams. Impunity took the turret, then they were low, so they had to run away. And then Ciao 7 took the turret, and they were low, so they had to run away. Impunity took the gold mine, and now both teams topped off and ready for an actual team fight. And we actually haven't seen teams fight when they're even for quite a while. It's either been one team's dived to turret or the other team's dived to turret, so they've all been low on health or energy. Idris has got 3 damage items. This is a big power spike. You saw the damage on the Shack from Mimius Bay. He tried to turn it with an on point, but I think
just the chakra, man.
Quart d'Ivoire has got the block on the Force Accord. Will block it out. Finn obviously going to get that. Actually, not looking like he's going to go for Echo or No Wave. Looks like he's going to go for more of a Crucible, War Treads kind of build. So more of a Captain build than a Finn build. But let's see. Just going to back off. DefQ going to rotate up to lane. No one wants to fight yet. It's all about DefQ. Just has to dive in, basically. They're not going to win the poke war against the Crystal Black Feather. Your Sky can try and outpoke, but it's really unlikely. So definitely just has to jump in, Shroud Step someone, burst them down, force the fountain, and then look at the back of the chase, so a fight will probably break out now.
That's going to be an offensive death from above just to take down the turret, but that's not going to be the case. Sin Monster still 30 seconds away with his Forced Accord, so Ciao 7 has to go for the old school style of initiation, which is to chase down their opponents and try to poke them to death. And that might be the case here onto Kerchops, but they once again go to the poke and they got choked. So that's going to be Impunity with an ace. This is, well, what we call the great bait, mate. Oh my goodness.
The triple kill for DefQ.
Oh my
Just burst
god.
down Blackfeather, and then Fox went from 100% to 0. He died in like under a second because the Sui Strike from Sky, the basics of DefQ, the Chakram from DefQ, that was just so much damage. I don't think Fox was ready for that. Maybe his mate wants to boost it, wants to save this Crystal Sentry. But there's the Chakram from
DefQ.
DefQ's gonna
Does have the Shimmer Strike, so he'll be able to use that for safety, but still won't be able to get away as Mimia's base chase is just that great. And this could be a counter ace by Ciao 7 if they can find Quart of War in the midst of it all. They know he's in the lane, and Mimia's Bay is hungry for that one more kill. Although there's gonna be the mobility for Quart of War, but man, Mini, was that a that was such a detrimental fight for Ciao 7.
Another Ciao 7 slightly overextending. They've decided to take the Crystal Sentry down, and again we see the Crystal Sentry does so much damage on you that you can't take a fight after you've taken down Sentry. You have to back away. And DefQ was in a bad position. He tried to Shimmer Strike onto one of his allies. You can stay invulnerable for a really long time if you stay on one of your allies, but Arden couldn't run away far enough to let DefQ stay alive. So that was Mimia's Bay managing to pick up those kills. Crystal Blackfeather doing a lot of damage. He's working towards probably a Broken Myth second item, so that will really start ramping up. But we've already seen that if he lands those on points, it is a lot of damage. Maybe not on DefQ, who's now got a full Aegis against Blackfeather, but on Kerchops especially, we're seeing 400 easily. Maybe actually 350, so that's a little bit of defense picked up by the infusion of Kerchops. So that's good. He doesn't get bursted down that quickly by Blackfeather anymore. And both teams are seeing who can win the Poke Wars for scored. Nice block.
Nice block. Like he said, Quart of War is still here, alive. Does have his gauntlet up, so that's one key ultimate here that Impunity can be able to use for their engage. And Ciao 7 is getting a little bit of free harassment. There's going to be the gauntlet stun connecting onto Mimia's Bay. He will be able to get away. I believe he used the dash to be able to get away from the kill zone of Impunity. For the meantime, there's going to be a death from above, as well as the follow-up here from the Idris. And look at that from the backline. He just deals the damage. DRDC won't be able to get that finalizing kill. And Kerchops as well as Quart of War might go to chase him down, but still, DefQ to survive with the sliver of HP.
The Fountain just barely saving his life. He was almost dead. He then got a Fountain, a little bit of sustain, and then was almost dead again for another basic from Vox. I'm sure DRDC will be very annoyed that he couldn't kill Idris there. And that's the Poison Shiv on Idris, just making sure as soon as he takes minions, he'll be nice and healthy. And Impunity are going to wait for a fight now. They're going to try and take out the Sentry again. Are they being too greedy? They're going to get the Sentry probably without contest, but Ciao 7 want to fight. It's going to be Sin Monster with full squad in 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
Low energy. I reckon they're going to go for it. Ciao 7 wants to fight him.
Yeah, Quart of War has no key ultimates to work with for this one. DefQ's going to try to go in, but doesn't have his Shimmer Strike anymore. Death from above will actually give a little bit of leeway here for Impunity as they try to run away or maybe outpoke C7, but you have to remember, like you said, Mimia's Bay is just that strong on point from the sidelines. He does have one charge left onto his Rose Offensive, might use it, but they decide no. Are they going to go for a gold miner here? Actually, no, 9 seconds and the Kraken should be coming up online, and Impunity don't want to give that chance. They don't want to port just back or just yet, and they will see Ciao 7 leave for the meantime.
Yeah, hopefully the Kraken awakens, and she remembers too, 15 minutes in. And yeah, Finn not going for the Echo Null Wave second and third item, which we've seen pretty much exclusively on Finn. He's going for the Water Reds in, which makes sense. Obviously, you want to be able to either use that Water Reds aggressively or defensively to get your Idris and to get your Vox and your Blackfeather away from the Idris who's diving in. But I still would like to see from Sin Monster, see a Null Wave, see an Echo, see something to try and make sure that Force Squad lands. Because if they do, it could just be so much damage from for Mimi's Bale on a triple on point. If he lands all 3 members in, that's easily 1,000 damage if he gets a triple on point.
And the fight will break loose in here once again in the jungle, and Sin Monster will eat a little bit of that damage from Kirchhoff's. You did see, like you said, Force the Court, only one Force the Court without the Echo won't be really too good. And look at the Impunity. They're actually going to try to rotate from the backline. And does C7 know what's up? No. You saw Mimi's Bay was actually poking the front brush, and they got juked a little bit here by Impunity.
Good. Impunity they're in the party brush. That is the known gank. That's the best brush for ganking, really. And then Ciao 7 aren't in the best position. I think
they
should be cautious. They're getting up from the backside.
They don't know. Watch out, Corner Boy's right here. He can actually set up for a huge 3-man gauntlet, and the damage is on. They're trying to go aggressively as possible. The Death from Above will actually take quite a bit of time to work with. Shimmer strikes from DefQ, and he will be able to shut down as well the Black Feather, and that's only going to be Sin Monster with the Fin, and that's going to be an ace for Impunity. Whew, that was a great strat by Impunity.
I know, it was smart. They just managed to stay out of vision range, sneak around the backside. Ciao 7 were like, wait, so what do we do? Do we just push the lane? Okay, I don't know why we'll just push the lane. They must have backed off to their jungle. But no, he comes from the backside, and another triple kill for DefQ.
Oh, this should be it.
They're trying to finish it. I think they're trying to no, this is going to be smart.
Oh, no, okay. Alright.
Yeah, they get 4 shots away, that's smart. Maybe it's better to see both up, and that's a lot of damage. If you're trying to dive turrets and dive them, they're going to take sentry. No, it's risky. I don't think they should do it. No, they're going to back off. Just sewage strike around the sentry.
Yeah.
And take the lead. You've got a 6k gold lead. There's no need to fight when you're in a bad position. Wait until you've got that Echo up on Arden. Wait for the gauntlet, and you should just win the team fight as a 3v3. There's no point putting yourself in a bad position.
Yeah. As well as them, I guess them respecting that still, if they allow Ciao 7 to have that opening, Mimi's Bay can just rip through Kirchhoff's right here quite easily. Sin Monster will go for the Force the Cord, but again, immediately gets blocked off. So now maybe Ciao 7 are going to say, why didn't we go for the Echo? Why, Sin Monster? Kraken is up for the taking, and both teams are looking for this objective. Kirchhoff's right there with the Vanguard going to go aggressive, and look at that 3-strike into the face of Mimi's Bay, and he has to back away. DefQ's right here. He goes for the Shroud Step, but gets stunned. Has the right timing with the Shimmer Strike, if I'm not mistaken, and that's going to be, well, the Arden into the front line. Kirchhoff's will be able to deal the damage, but Mimi's Bay is still alive right here, and DRDC will able to capitalize, and DefQ is actually very low in HP and will be out of the fight, and that's going to be an ace for Ciao 7.
Yeah, DefQ trying to make the plays on low health. Obviously, he has that Blink Gimper barrier. He has that Atlas on box to try and get that off, but didn't quite work out, and that's a really good team fight. They backed off under towards their Crystal Sentry, which is where you want to be fighting. If you don't have turrets to fight under, you want to fight under the Sentry, and they will get this Kraken uncontested.
Uncontested,
as well.
It will be taken. That's true. Although this Kraken, they have to at least get 2 turrets to offset the gold that, well, Impunity might be able to get if they kill it. And they do have the damage for it too. 4,000 gold lead as well. If you look at the gold for both teams.
That's down from about 6,000 where it was before that Kraken was taken. So lots of shutdown. Issues was 10 and 2. Now he's 10 and 3. So that's probably 600 shutdown. The Forced Cord obviously going to be blocked. That's just expected. But Finn, where's your Echo? You need it.
You need the Echo, man. And Mimi's Bay. Yeah. Double arena.
There's so much poke from Mimi's Bay that it's so DefQ cannot get this Kraken except with a Chakra. Because Mimi's Bay will just poke him out if he tries to basic attack it.
Kirchhoff is trying to do the best that he can though, and it's going to be the Arden to use a Gauntlet. They try to catch C7 off guard, and I think they might have just barely actually gotten a kill there onto Sin Monster with that aggressive maneuver by Court of War, but they have to keep this Kraken in check unless they want themselves to push us into a third game. Look at how close to destruction that turret is. I can see all white life, no more blues.
That's anything. A basic attack from Finn would have taken that turret down to dead. But yeah, that's still 2 turrets for Ciao 7. They got 2 turrets off their Kraken push. I'm sure they'll be happy with that. And getting that choke point turret again, very important. Idris actually is fully built. So the Kraken gold for him wasn't actually that useful. Obviously, it will help Kirchhoff still needing to get a broken myth. Sorry, still needing to build an Aegis and a fourth damage item, whatever he decides to go for.
Miss Bay
So
wants to
gonna try and poke.
go
He's
in.
gonna get out poked.
10 seconds to the gauntlet as well, though. And look at this polite company as well as the aggression from Impunity actually put them in a little bit of an awkward situation where they have to back away. They have to be careful that Mimi is based steering to the sidelines, goes in with the on point, wants to go with the aggression, but gets spotted out with the flare. And Impunity might just back away for the meantime. There is no aggressive wave pushing into their lane, so they really have to be careful from that one. 3-man on point from Mimius Bay, and look at the chip damage from the RDC, and this could be C7 to actually get back into the fight. There's still the Echo actually up for a quarter of one. No, he used it already.
He got stunned out of the gauntlet.
Oh, I see. That's why.
And Defq's in the back line.
And he will go for a maneuver here that might have actually taken down Sin Monster, but the RDC has been free hitting this whole skirmish. And now they gotta back away. Unless Defq wants to go aggressive, there is at least Mimius Bay and Sin Monster very low in HP. Sentry defeated. And wow, Impunity are slowly losing grasp of this game, even though they have a 5,000 gold lead. What's happening?
Yeah, they are. It was Defq who decided to go on the back line, go around the backside, which was a really good idea. But then he went on the Finn, which wasn't a good idea. Like, obviously, Finn's got an Atlas, Finn's got so much health, so much tank, that it's just not worth trying to burst him down. If he's low, that's good. But you want to get DRDC, you want to get Mimi's Bay, you want to get one of the carries, and just leave Finn alone. You can get him last, and it's not worth trying to burst Finn down. So he should have gone for the Black Feather or for the Vox. But it was a good quibble from Finn to stun out the first gauntlet from Arden. And he looks like he's actually just going to go lots of flares. I think Sin Monster could have possibly already won the game if he'd gone for that.
Cordovo, where are your teammates? He's trying to run away as fast as he can, but gets pulled back in, I believe, by the Finns. Force the court. Kirchhoff is right here. Uses the ultimate, but C7.
Where's Defq going? Where's Defq going?
Oh, is Defq gonna go for it? Is he gonna go for it? There's one crystal turret lit. Oh, can he do it? Can he stop the ports from coming in? C7 are doing it as fast as they can, but Defq is right here. Oh no, this is so bad. Defq gonna be going for the dirty plays. And can he actually pop the Bane? A couple more attacks? No! So freaking low. That Bane just went and go. Oh my goodness. You can just see 7 almost popping their own Banes literally from how dirty Defq wanted to break that Bane open.
It was so close. It was
goodness.
Cordovar was in the jungle, the sentry wasn't alive, and Ciao 7 knew the sentry wasn't up because they just killed it. And so they saw Defq in lane because he was clearing the wave, and then they saw Cordovar and thought, oh, we're 2v3. And then they chased him and went, oh, we're actually 1v3. Sky's not even here. So they just got the kill on Cordovar. He missed the block on the force to call because he was trying to get his gauntlet down, and obviously wasn't able to get that. And he's not going to be able to do this Kraken. He's hardened. And so that will be another Kraken. But again, the Vayne is exposed. I think it'll be really hard for Ciao 7 to get a lot from this Kraken push. I'd be very surprised if they don't get the first turret, considering it's won anything from death. Maybe someone breathes on it and that turret will fall once the Kraken goes in. But they have to wear the backdoor. Idris can backdoor really well. He's going to go for it. Makes sense.
Oh.
You force the port. You let Sky take the Kraken, but he might even get spotted out by the scout trap. He's going to actually try and go through. He will be spotted. There was a scout trap there, and that is Mimi's Bay and DDC.
All the info that they needed. Mimi's Bay hot on his heels. Oh, the damage though, look at that! It's actually going to be Defq to outmaneuver Mimius Bay here. Nice fadeaway chakram, and you know, that's what they call from downtown. But DRDC will be able to capitalize, get the 1-for-1 trade, and like you said, the Kraken is doing work on the on the remaining turrets here of Impunity, and oh my goodness, Kirchhoff does not have enough damage to actually chip down that Kraken. He's so tanky. What's happening here?
Sky is horrible at taking Kraken. Obviously she used to be really good. She used to be able to take Kraken with nothing, and Death Above would just melt it. But Sky getting some objective damage. They're going to go for the Vox. Kraken should fall to the start. Not quite. Oh, that's
20 seconds on Defq. This is not enough time, and we are going to go to a game 3. How?
Energy of the nurse jobs. That was obviously a good decision to go for the backdoor on. If you weren't winning the team fights, you would just weren't winning them at all. Obviously, Vox just would destroy Idris for some reason. Vox playing extremely well there, and so they went for the backdoor, but Devki just couldn't quite do it. He got the kill on Blackfeather, but he can't 2v1. Sorry, he can't 1v3 essentially under a Crystal Sentry. And so he got the kill on Blackfeather, couldn't get the ODC, didn't have his Shroud step up to jump over the wall. And then, obviously, Sky can't take